What's up to Lion Talk Live? We love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew? This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, Lions Talk Live, Monday morning show edition. I think we got a little bit of news for you. As we all know, the NFL draft is about a month away, and you're going to have a lot more speculation between now and then. Who's going where, what's happening, who's on first, who's going to second, what's on third, who's heading home, all the whole shebang and bang. Is this guy going to get traded? Is that guy getting traded? Are we going to trade for their draft pick, who's ever's draft pick? We're going to have to go through all of that. But, hey, that's part of the fun. That's part of the ritual of the NFL offseason, an offseason that never really seems to stop, always has something happen. And Dave Birkett, as you can probably tell for the thumbnail for this one, if you don't know this guy, I would say, wow, I'm a little surprised by that if he didn't, because he's been a Detroit Lions reporter, man, for a long, long time. I can't even remember. I remember I was a reporter for a little bit of time before he came on the scene, started at the Oakland Press, etc., and then eventually moved on to the Free Press. He's got some information that he thinks could potentially, and again, this is all speculation on his behalf, so don't take it as the Bible. Don't take it as your daily do or whatever, but what I would say is I think he brings up a pretty interesting scenario for the NFL draft, and we'll get into that during the main top of the day. Could the Detroit Lions really do this, that, the other thing? I guess we'll have to wait and see what Brad Holmes has cooking this offseason. But you know what? One thing I think we can all agree, Brad Holmes is always unpredictable. Nobody really has a great feel what he is going to do or isn't going to do. So I think it makes a little bit of sense for the Lions and Brad Holmes. And yes, I'm trying to fix the screen over here and not doing a very good job with it. All right, real quick, before we get into the main top of the day, the 5 headlines now and everything in between. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're about 60-some subs away from hitting 13,500. So if you can help out with that, that would be great. Also, if you have half-second time, reach on down. It doesn't cost you a dang dime. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. And as you guys know, if you've watched the YouTube for any time, that helps everyone on YouTube exponentially. Yes, I do have a green shirt on, by the way, since it is St. Patty's Day, and I did not think about it before going on air. Green screen, you know what? Hey, you can't see my shirt, so I will be wearing the see-through shirt today, I guess. All right, all that said out of the way, one last thing. I know a number of you people always ask about different information. Normally during this segment, I talk about housing. If you need the realtor, contact me. But I wanted to do something a little different today. Most of you know my wife, Jen, is a big fitness guru. And if you're ever looking to improve your health, here's one thing I would say. About 2 months ago, she had me start taking something called peptides. It's not my wheelhouse. I don't really know what they are. I know it's some sort of supplement, almost like a vitamin. And let me tell you, I can say this to you guys. After 2 months in, my muscle mass has gone up. My bone mass has gone up like exponentially. So if somebody who doesn't really like working out a ton, if you want to just help yourself out, I would encourage each and every one of you to go research what peptides are, see if you can get some. If you need some, I can always, I guess, send you over to Jen's websites or something. But I can say this, my cholesterol has gone down. All my other scores have gone up in a good way. So I would encourage y'all, if you're struggling with, brittler bones as we're getting older, I mean, I'm in my 50s, or, other topics as we age, you might want to check them out because they have been a bit of a game changer for me. All right, with all that done, set out of the way, let's get the show rocking and rolling and going and get into the first topic, which is Invisible Shirt Says. 5 headlines now. Still got to get used to saying wife. All right, 5 headlines now. Detroit Lions predicted the Lions stunning steal in NFL draft. Virtual sports news by Simon Keto with this one. You know, again, not to beat a dead horse, as we get closer and closer to the draft, you're going to have a whole bunch of people going in different directions, what we're going to do in the draft. And that's probably one of the best things about the Detroit Lions. With the free agent moves we've made this offseason, plus some of the developmental guys we've acquired in recent drafts, etc., the Lions really don't have glaring holes other than, I guess you could say, pass rusher and maybe a little bit of depth here and there. In his recent 7th-round mock draft, Brad Berryman has Detroit shockingly landing Texas A&M defensive lineman Sherman Stewart in the 2nd round. I think that would be a coup de grace, whatever you want to say, a massive home run if the Lions could acquire him in the 2nd round. I've had him in the a number of different reporters say we were going to take him in the 1st round, and it could be that's what happens. In Behrman's ESPN article, he also says that Jeremy Fowler is on board with this, thinks he can be a huge player, and perhaps was one of the best players, if not the best player at the Senior Bowl. If the Lions really do pull off this trade-up scenario and get Stewart in the near the first start of the 2nd round, I should say, what would you say? Putting him on next to Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pascal, Aiden Hutchinson, and whoever else on the defensive line, DJ Reader or whatever, that would be a massively large defensive line for the Lions. And Stewart, as you probably know, can get to the quarterback. He does have some athleticism, despite being, I want to say 290, 280 some pounds. What say you? In this particular report, like I said, he doesn't give the full details of the trade-up scenario, but I do think, and we've talked about it, Duke Crew, for a while, the Lions are going to make some trades. Brad Holmes, as we all know, does tend to make draft day trades. Would you be upset if Stewart fell to the 2nd round and Brad Holmes said, you know what, skip some picks, we're going to get this guy? I think most of you would be happy, but let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Stewart, yes. Stewart, no. Do you do it in the 2nd round? Do you try to get him at the end of the 1st round? I guess we'll wait and see what you guys have to say. All right, next to the 5 glorious headlines now. Day 4 of Lions free agency. Medical recap of the players Detroit signed. Story by Jimmy Lotto, MD, Doctor, Lions Wire. So we all get it. Brad Holmes loves to sign himself some valuable players, or value players, I guess you'd say, who have had some injuries. But let's pay attention to what Dr. Lotto has on this one. So far this offseason, the vast majority of the Lions players, as we're about to uncover, really don't have major health issues, or at least in the history. Trevor Nowoski, linebacker, age 26. He did have some injuries last year, but Dr. Lotto does give a concern level for injuries or injured history. He gives him a 2 out of 10. I think most of us agree. Nowoski missed a game or so like that last year with an ankle injury, but definitely not somebody you think who's going to get injured all the time. Kyle Allen, the quarterback we just got, who's 29 years old, level of concern, 2 out of 10. And I'm not going to spend all day on these. Levi Onwuzurike, defensive tackle. I didn't realize he was already 27. But anyway, 6 out of 10. And I think most of us get it because of that back, that spine fusion. There's always going to be some level of concern. Grant Stewart, linebacker, 26, 2 out of 10. Craig Reynolds, 1 out of 10. Yeah, Craig always seems to be healthy. He always seems to battle through an injury if he has it, so he's always available. Dan Skipper, 2 out of 10. Miles Adam, 1 out of 10. Roy Lopez, 1 out of 10. And I don't know as much about Lopez, but I can say, yeah, Miles Adams, kind of the same thing. Always healthy, always available. DJ Reed, cornerback, 28 years old, 2 out of 10. Derek Barnes, 4 out of 10. Did have the knee injury last year, but the rest of his career, he's been pretty healthy. Marcus Davenport, no big surprise here, 7 out of 10. Naiti Mutai, the offensive guard, the depth piece. Man, I didn't realize it was just $1 million for him, but that's not a bad signing. 8 out of 10. That's probably the biggest concern out of everybody we've signed so far. Davenport, I'm surprised, isn't higher on the list. Anthony Pittman, 1 out of 10. Ezekiel Turner, 1 out of 10. Maurice Norris, 1 out of 10. So what do you say with Dr. Lotto's opinion about these injured guys? I think he's probably overall pretty spot on, but I probably would have put Marcus Davenport closer to 8 or 9 out of 10 because, let's be honest, Davenport's got some abilities. He just can't ever get on the field. All right, next to the 5 headlines now, 2025-26 Detroit Lions odds. Odds of to win Super Bowl NFL playoffs division. This is from Fox Sports. Won't spend a lot of time on this one, but I'll get it over to you. Lions postseason odds. Odds to win the NFC North is a plus 135. You guys know what that means. I don't. Odds to win the Super Bowl plus 900. So I can tell you that means that there's some chance they can win the Super Bowl. I think the Lions are actually going to have a pretty good chance. I'm going to say the Lions have a better chance to win the Super Bowl next year than they did last year. And it's just because I don't believe you can have the injury bug 2 years in a row to quite that extent. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. I just think the Lions are going to be healthier this year, which means they're going to have a much, much better year. The listed as the top performers or expected performers for next year. Not a big surprise here. Jared Goff's going to be number 1. Gibbs, number 2. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3. Dave Montgomery, 4. Brian Branch and Jack Campbell and Kirby Joseph are all listed as possible defensive players to keep eyes on for the upcoming season. If you're a gambling person, I guess there's some sort of thing you can do to gamble on their success, I guess. Their success, let's be honest, is Detroit Lions' success. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Eagles predicted to reload pass rush by signing Lions' $11 million cast-off. Sporting News story by Mike Moratis. Moratis apparently feels that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to try to win another Super Bowl, and they're going to try to do it by signing Zadarius Smith. Zadarius Smith has not come out and said anything about where he's going or where he wants to go, just that he wants to continue playing. I know a lot of Lions fans would be happy to see him back. Me, myself, and I included on that one, and I do hope the Detroit Lions can bring him back. Lions got rid of him. It sounds like, and while they haven't made a huge public comment on it, it sounds like they just didn't want to give him the bonuses, thought that, that would be a little too much. We've all speculated for some time, could they bring him back on a cheaper deal? Well, the problem is now everybody's going to be bidding for his services, especially once we get through the draft. It's my anticipation any team that didn't get what they need at edge or depth at edge, our defensive line, probably going to draw more interest in Zadarius Smith. I'm still holding out hope that we can bring him back, but you are going to have teams like Philadelphia, amongst others, that are going to try to sign him. Hopefully he chooses us over them. All right, Lions Dan Campbell hammered over loss of elite performer on key unit. SB Nation story, Max Dibble with this one. Let's be honest. We all wanted Kevin Zeitler back. And yes, in recent interviews, Dan Campbell has taken a little bit of heat for letting him go. It does sound like, though, that heat is somewhat unwarranted. Campbell and the Detroit Lions did try to sign him, get him to come back. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for a multitude of reasons. Zeitler himself said it wasn't so much the money. It was, hey, he wanted to be closer to home, be closer to kids, family, et cetera, et cetera. And I get that. As a dad, most of you guys probably get it too. If you have to pick between one location and the other, and one's a little bit more family friendly, you're probably going to go with it. Zeitler's going to be 36 here. Family life, once it's gone, it's gone. We get the whole shebang-a-bang. But yes, he did, the Lions and Dan Campbell did take a little bit of heat in some recent interviews for letting him walk. And it does sound like, according to Campbell, they tried. They just couldn't ultimately, at the end of the day, win him over because of the family issue. All right, moving on from that, let's get on over to the main topic of the day. All right, main topic of the day. We started the show saying this, and it's going to hold true for between now and the end of the draft, probably. The Lions are predicted to go for this guy, that guy, whatever you want to have. But I did think that with Dave Birkett's recent thoughts, yesterday's thoughts on the Lions and the draft, this is a little bit different. I don't mind the pick. We'll get into it momentarily. I just think, man, you're talking about really the Lions sometimes drafting replacements ahead of time. To me, that's what you're doing here if this holds water. And I'm not going to, lead this on forever, but he's got the Lions. He thinks the Lions are going to target, I should say. He thinks the Lions, Dave Birkett's going to have the Lions take Jaheed Campbell, the linebacker from Alabama. Hey, let's be honest. This kid is special. He is athletic. We talked about on yesterday's show, perhaps the Lions trying to trade up to get Mike Green or James Pierce Jr. And I don't think any of us would be mad if that did go down. But with that also being said, Campbell, man, I don't know where if you put him in that and then Pierce's or Green's, breath. But just for those who don't know, he's 6'3", roughly 235, 240 pounds. He would be a linebacker at the NFL level unless he decided to put on about 10 or 15 pounds. Then maybe he could be a little bit more of an end. But the kid's got wheels. We all get it. His 40 was a 4.52. Definitely not slow by any stretch of the imagination. Weight 235, 240 pounds. Arm length, one thing I always try to pay attention to, especially for edge rushers or defensive players. He's got a 32.5-inch arm. Not bad by any stretch. Wouldn't mind 33, 34. Hands are good. Height's good. What would you say, though? Dave Birkett, with this selection, does think that perhaps Kelvin Shepard and the Detroit Lions are trying to change the defense a little bit from what Aaron Glenn had. Perhaps there's more sets where you have 4 linebackers on the field. Yes, maybe you could rotate him, Barnes, at defensive edge at time to time. If it's me and myself, I don't mind it, but I would try to still go for somebody who is a defensive edge. I do think it's probably our most glaring lead on the defense, or most glaring need on the defense, I should say. Campbell, though, he checks all the boxes. He's a star. He's from Alabama. We all get it. Brad Holmes prefers guys who come from Alabama for a multitude of reasons. They've been groomed a certain way. They've been in big games. They've been exposed to the mental component of sports, not just the physical component to sports. And I, as a coach, I can say this to you guys. When you're scouting professionally, collegiately, it is something all scouts pay attention to. What has this person done in against elite competition in meaningful, stressful, emotional games? Big games where, hey, the outcome's a playoff game or whatever. How do they perform in that situation? Not everybody does handle that well, so you do want to pay attention to it. And Campbell, from what I know, and I do know more about him than perhaps most other prospects, he does check all those boxes. He would be a bit of a difference maker, I think, on the Lions. And again, I think you could rotate him around. He doesn't just have to play linebacker, third down rush backer, etc., blitz backer. And I do think it is a tell from Dave Birkett, if the Lions do go this route, you are probably starting to see more and more linebacker blitzes. Doesn't mean you're always going to rush 6, 7 guys, but I do think you're going to see a more of aggressive tone in nature out of the Detroit Lions when healthy than perhaps what Aaron Glenn wanted to do more often than not. All right, guys, you heard me ramble about this one. What do you say about this idea from Dave Birkett? If you go out there with him, let's Scooby-Doo this. You do have Jack Campbell, who he just drafted 2 seasons ago. He just signed Derek Barnes to a 3-year deal. Alex Anzalone, I think, has got 2 years left on his extension. Maybe it's 1. But would you be upset with this? I know most of you guys want to go up in the NFL draft and get a very targeted edge, but would you be able to live with Campbell? My opinion, and I know I kind of shared it when we started breaking it down, I would not be upset with it because he's got stuff you can't teach, but I do think he would have to mass up a little bit to perhaps play a little bit more defensive end. Or do you just leave him at linebacker and say, hey, we got 4 quality backers. Rodrigo, when you're healthy, we got 5. I don't know. I can see the right, wrong, and indifferent, and we did have it in the 5 headlines now when Simeon Keto said, hey, Lions would trade up in round 2 to try to acquire, a defensive end there. And not that I'd be upset with that scenario, but do you think the Lions would do the right thing, according to Dave Birkett, and go after Campbell in this first round, pick number 28, right around there at least? Let me know in the comment section, and let's get over to you guys in the Do Crew. Let me scroll over to the top of the screen. Un momento, por favor, as I try to go up, and away. And yes, for those just joining, it's not your screens that are messed up. I decided for St. Patty's Day to wear a green shirt, and I didn't consider the fact that the filter I used to get rid of the background would take out my shirt. JDC, morning all, and back at you. Boonscar Blade, good morning to you, and morning back at you, my friend. Johnny L, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, good morning to the crew, and same to you, Johnny. Hopefully it's a great start to your morning. Surfer, good morning, coach and everyone, and back at you, Surfer. Good, let's see, Bo, good morning, Do Crew. Victory belongs to the bold, exclamation point. Woo, yeah, 100%. That, I don't care what it is in life. If you're willing to take risks, yes, you open up yourself for commentary if those risks don't pay off. But the other side of that, though, is if you are successful, you probably have a big advantage over other people. So I can't wait to hear who we're getting today. Campbell it is. Hey, you can't have enough Campbells on this team, correct? Five fingers Freddy. Quarterback, question mark. Please tell me Dave is calling for us to pick a quarterback, laughing out loud. No, not a quarterback, but one heck of a linebacker. Maybe, I guess you could argue the Lions could say that they're getting the best overall linebacker in the draft. I get Walker from Georgia is probably widely considered the best linebacker, but Jahad Campbell isn't far off. I mean, you might be splitting hairs with both of them. Let me real quick pull this up on Draft Buzz. So for those who want to know, Jalen Walker is given a grade. And again, it's not my grade. It's their grade over at NFLDraftBuzz.com. They give them a grade of 87.4. They got Campbell at 86.8. So you really are splitting hairs between the two. I would not be upset by getting Campbell, but again, I think you're going to really have to address that edge spot in rounds 2 and 3, and probably the fan bases might, to a certain degree, not be happy with it. Marcus, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew! Exclamation point. Coach Dan, what are your thoughts on the Bungles extensions for their 2 wide receivers? Is it time to lock J-Mo up? Hey, the prices are only going to go one way, and you get it, I get it. The faster you can re-sign Kirby, Jamison Williams, Aiden Hutchinson, ultimately, in the long haul, you're saving money. So I would be okay with it. Unless you really are thinking about moving on from Jamison Williams, which I really doubt that the team is looking to do. Drake, good morning. All draft talk is heating up NBA Jam style. Love it, 100%. Boom, shakalaka. And more, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew! Exclamation point. What a team. What a podcast. What a time being Lions fan. Woo! Go Lions, 100%. Henry, good to see you this morning. Sir, keep from, it looks like destiny, and it's end up being from taking Detroit to the promised land. Hey, all belief isn't from it. Last year, I get it was one game, but without any practice reps or even knowing what he was doing, that kid looked pretty good out there. Jessica, hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Thank you for the show, Coach Dan. Hey, no worries. I enjoy doing it. It really has become a part of our everyday. It has become a part of my everyday, hanging out with you guys, getting the morning started. Hopefully you all enjoy it. Big Eddie, greetings and salutations. Birkett is one of the better reporters out there. I enjoy his work. He does a good job with it. Reporting for any kind of publication isn't what it was 20 or so years ago. But the fact he's stuck with it, the fact that he really does the extra work, just tells you how much he really enjoys his job and his craft. How about that? Bo, Goff has had his bell rung against Washington. Perhaps having a proven backup is a priority we are not focusing on. I guess, Bo, here's what we can say. Do they believe in Fromm? Do they believe in Hooker? Do they believe in the new guy they brought in? I don't know. And I don't know enough about Hooker to have an opinion. I guess we'll have to wait to see in preseason if he's here, what he does out there. Has he improved? Has he developed? He's got all the physical stuff. Hopefully that also translates to the NFL level in year 3 for him. Silver, I think you could still get a 5th or maybe a 4th for Hooker. But then again, the draft will be here, and we wonder what will Brad Holmes and the Lions do. Yeah, and I know there were some stories out yesterday saying that a couple teams were going to trade for Hendon Hooker. I have no idea, man. I probably could have put him in the 5 headlines today. Just didn't think about it. Hooker is what he is. I don't know if you'll get a ton for him unless the team's really needy. Last year, I thought was the opportunity where they could have got a bit more for him. They kind of, for whatever reason, didn't do it. So maybe they have belief in him. Maybe Hendon Hooker is looking pretty good. Johnny L., you got that right, Big Eddie. I'll go with that. Ban Bear, good morning. Dan Aru, I'll go with that. Carlson and Duke Crew, I trust you all had a wonderful weekend. Same to you. Hopefully it was a phenomenal weekend for you. Johnny L., I picked the wrong day for a hangover. Hey, come on in, relax, close your eyes. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. Are we going to have, we are going to have 20 different guys mocked to us between now and the draft. It's all best guess at this point. Yeah, 100%, because there are so many factors that go into it. Think about this way. You're 28. It's a whole lot more difficult to predict who's going to come to you, who's going to fall to you, versus it is at pick 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, or whatever you want to say. So how much other teams make unexpected moves will affect the Detroit Lions. At the end of the day, they're going to get somebody who's probably going to be impactful. Me, myself, and I still think we're trading up into the early 20s, high teens, somewhere like that. Man Bear, laughing out loud. Yes, I finally come up with a new way to say Dan. Hey, there you go. I'll take that. Big Eddie, Johnny, I recall him working for the Oakland paper back in the day. He's been around a minute. Yes, he has been. He has been indeed. Good dude. Johnny L, yes, he has. Bo, Johnny L, the rain is picking my brain like a hangover. All right, well, avoid the rain, my friend. Sir, I was confident Lions would draft a defensive tackle in the first. Now, after Lopez, Levi resigning, we get Reader, Aleem, Wingo, C. Smith, and Martin. Not counting on him much. I'm not sure we're picking a defensive tackle. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Silver. Now, with that being said, if some stud falls to us, I do believe Brad Holmes would look to draft him just because Brad is not going to worry about the depth chart. He's going to say, who's the best player available? And that may not always work for fans, but he's not really worried about what the fans think. Tori, hey, Coach, Do you know there is a guy on YouTube who's copying your show? He even has changed his thumb to mirror what yours do color-wise. And, I mean, it happens. I mean, I'm sure I've been influenced by other people. If I can help somebody else out, then kudos, man. I mean, it's probably no different than any line of work. I'll just use coaching as an example. Like a lot of times people call me up about, even like friends in different levels, collegiately, professionally, high school, whatever, about the offense we run or my teams run and say, hey, what do you do here or there? I didn't come up with it. I may have added layers to it over the decades, but the guy I learned it from, the Go offense, Loyola Marymount, I probably run this thing since the early 90s now. And, I wasn't the one who invented it. I've made some changes to it, but that's life in general. People are always, if you see something you like, hey, maybe I want to borrow a little bit of that or this. No different than making, I'm assuming TV shows or movies where you say, hey, that director did this or that. Let's borrow some aspects of that. It happens. France, good morning, Duke Crew. As long as we pick up defense in the draft during the first few rounds, I'm happy. Please don't take a wideout. All right, we'll take wide receiver off the list. Bo, imitation is the best form of flattery, 100%. Just don't mess up my hair. Johnny L, Tori, really? We'll find out. I don't know. Quentin, greetings, salutations. We sign anyone more in free agency? I think we probably will between now and in the start of training camp. We're probably inevitably going to sign a few more people. Now, how many of those guys stick around for the regular season? That might be the more important question. Phil, good morning. Back at you, Philly. Vincent E., good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Happy St. Patty's Day, 100%, and back at you, my friend. And yes, if you can't see my shirt, it's because it's green, and I didn't consider that before putting it on the screen. So that's my bad. Johnny L., good morning. Phil, Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. I had a thought last night. What's more likely? We trade up or down in the first round? I think trading up. But, I'm a little selfish. I think the Lions aren't going to be able to keep all 7-8 draft picks. I think we are going to make a move up. But I guess the argument could be made. Do you trade down in the first round? Somebody who wants that fifth-year option on a guy, especially someone like a quarterback, and now you got more ammunition to move up in round 2 or maybe even round 3. Let's see, the kid, what do you got? Good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. With Zettler gone, will the offensive line now be the priority in the draft? I think it will be targeted. I don't know if it'll be the priority. I really think it's going to come down to best player available and go from there. Excuse me. Johnny, Phil, Johnny, Silver Server, France, they won't take a wide receiver. Maybe later rounds, perhaps. We hope diamonds in the rough. Yeah, I think there'll be some guys at wide receiver that are developmental guys. So if we do address wide receiver, if it's me, you look for the things you can't measure. I remember AJ Perry. I think it's A.T. Perry. Saints drafted him. I really wanted the Lions to get him a couple seasons ago. He's like 6'5" and blazing fast. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Somebody like him that you can bring in and mold over a season or two. Trust the coaching staff to get more and more out of him. That's where I would probably go at wide receiver. So, Stephanie Wilder, in your opinion, trade back in round 1, trade up in round 2 and 3. Yeah, I'll go with that. I like the way you're thinking. Silver Server Tory, a copy stays a copy. Coach is the original. Hey, I'll take that. He doesn't have time to worry about copycats. Yeah, I mean, I'm not insulted if somebody borrows something of mine. It's going to happen. It's just talking about journalism. If you're the first person to write the story or get the news on a topic, other people are going to run with that after you. You might have got it first, but it doesn't mean they're not going to do it and maybe even do a better job with it. Server, so small. That is an original idea. Okay. Susan Scott. Good morning, Stephanie. I think we trade up in the first round, somewhere in the 10 to 19 area for an edge. That's what I know we were talking about yesterday, and I still think that's what we're going to do. 10 might be hard to achieve, but somewhere around 19, I think, is achievable. Troy made me laugh. Silver Server, this guy used to take it happens, man. It happens. Phil, how many outs and or front office staff is it normal to lose per year? Scouts. Okay, scouts. I don't know. I'd say probably for the Lions, 3 to 4, just because we've done such a great job drafting, developing. Those guys are going to have probably a little bit more edge because of the organizational results that we've produced over here. So my guess is, I know the Lions have lost 3 that I can think of. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's more. Maybe it's less. But I can think of 3 people, and it's going to be that way next year and next year as long as we keep repeating the process. All right, Voltron, any word on how Hutch and others are healing up from all I know, and it's probably not enough, but from everything I'm aware of, they've done a real good job healing up. I don't know of anybody who's fallen off schedule or behind or had any kind of flare-ups. So I'm assuming everybody's still on their original target dates. Anyway, say Duke Crew, question mark. When does the draft start? April. I don't remember the actual date off the top of my noggin. Somebody can put it in the comments section. Silver Server, if they get to the 19th pick, Grant is there, and they don't pick him, I will be sobbing like I did when they got Campbell instead of Calais Cansey. Yeah, I hear you, man. The only thing I could say is Silver Surfer, and I know a lot of us wanted to get Cansey, and I don't think anybody would have been disappointed if we got him, but there is video of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers war room when they were watching the Lions pick. It was clear watching that video that if the Lions took Calais Cansey, that the Buccaneers were going to take Campbell. So we weren't the only team that saw the potential in Jack Campbell. All right, Johnny L., we are going to rock, I think, and we're going to roll. Bo, if you can't beat them, join them, Tori. There you go. I like the way you're thinking. Trim Reaper, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Woo! Back at you. Pat, morning. Man, morning, Pat. Phil, Rodrigo and Lopez might make a great pair of defensive players. I pray Rodrigo can return to form. Me, myself, and I really like Rodrigo. I think, man, his ability to get sideline to sideline. I get the Lions want bigger linebackers to control the run. But Rodrigo, man, even though he's not the biggest dude out there, I think maybe his wrestling background comes into play a whole lot. I like him. Just my opinion, I probably would start him over Derek Barnes. And there's no disrespect to Derek Barnes. I just really like Rodrigo. Johnny L., Sheila Wu, please. You want a Sheila Wu? I'll give you a Sheila Wu. How about a 1, 2, and a 3? See, Dave, me too, Phil. I think Rodrigo should start. Yeah, me too. And again, every coach has different things they look for. To me, Rodrigo provides a lot of what I look for. Let's see, JDC, beat me, whip me, make me write bad checks. All right, whatever works for you, my friend. So, Silver Surfer, Stewart said he is ready to play fullback. That's good. 2 positions and a special team in 1 player. Yeah, and I think that's part of why they got him. It's why I think Rodrigo in the future, whether it's here in Detroit or whatever, he's going to have a long career because he can play multiple different facets, special teams, defense. He can play some offense as a tight end, fullback, scat back type guy. Anymore, just asking what bat time, what bat channel, Bat Dan. Hey, hey, I'm always here at 7 a.m. Well, Eastern Standard Time. Phil, coming off major knee surgery, I just hope he can play. The turf at Ford Field eats knees. I just think it is, every field does, man. I don't know. I don't know if Ford Fields is any more egregious than others, but I guess it is what it is. Pierce, just please get an edge. I hope so too. Phil, low audio. It's set to normal, so hopefully it's no different. Dennis, good morning. Dan and Duke Crew, back at you, Dennis. Kurt Steele, Man of Steel. What up, though, Duke Crew? How you doing, Hitman? And good morning, Dan. Now, what is the percentage of getting Trey Hendrickson? That's $1 million question, ain't it, Al? I don't know. I guess I'm going to say 30%. I think there's a 30% chance we can acquire him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's higher, but I'll go right around there. All right, let's see. Lions 1968. I can't wait for the draft. Me either, man. I'm looking forward to it. I always like it because I like kind of the Scooby-Dooing of it all. All right, this guy goes here. What do you do there? This guy does this. This team does that. I enjoy that kind of stuff. All right, the future is ours. We must seize the moment. I agree with you 1,000%. Miles Barker, greetings, salutations all. Same to you. Phil, audio check. 1, 2, 3. Microphone check. One funky audio sounds fine here. Hey, that's good news. Robert, woo! I concur. Brent, good morning, everyone. Is Rodrigo supposed to be fully recovered at the start of the season? I would think he's going to be into the season before he's fully back, especially with the nature of his position. My guess is he misses the first month, 6 weeks, something like that, but I don't know that. That's my guess. Southwest, before you start running your mouth, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit all the buttons. Kurt Steele, Coach, your shirt is blending into the background. You're like Max Headroom. Hey, man, you got to try to imitate some of the all-time greats, right? And yeah, I just did not think about it when I put on a green shirt that, the green screen would take me away. Pierce, at this point, don't care how, we just need an edge. Yes, we do need one, and someone who can impact the game. Kurt, Pierce, Sergeant, I know, right? Phil, floating head and hands. Hey, I'm magical like that. The 302 kit, I'm starting to think that Trey is off the table. Might be. Bo, Lions outside of bleeding through. Yes, yeah, we'll go with that. Lions outline, bleeding gone through. Robert, where is Dan O'Damas? You know, hey, right now, I think he's probably relaxing somewhere, getting ready for next season for his bold predictions. Pierce, good steal. I have said we can't have Davenport start. I don't think he's going to, man, I don't know, man. I guess just the best player to start. If he's going to be the best end on the team, he probably is going to start. Server. Hope Rodrigo, good to go. He is a very, very good player. Yeah, I really like him. And again, not going to keep talking about, but I like him better, in my opinion, than Derek Barnes. But I also don't know what the current staff is looking for. All right, anymore. It's an optical illusion with the shirt. It is indeed 100%. Server. Underrated Rodrigo, that is. I concur. Pierce, when did Rodrigo tear his ACL again? December. I want to say it was about the same time as Lee McNeil. And everybody heals at different paces. I mean, I've told you guys before, I've had some players come back in 8 months, 10 months, 14 months. I've also had one player come back from an ACL tear in 4 months. So, tore ACL right before the basketball season started, came back for March Madness. So, you know, everybody just heals so completely different. All right, Alec, good morning, Coach Dan. Exclamation points. I have a gut feeling that Holmes will draft a guard in round 1. I wouldn't be mad about it. I mean, if that's the best player, here's what I always try to tell people. If, you know, you put a scale on people, you know, 1 to 10, 10 being your home run player, 1 being, why is this person even in the league? If you have an opportunity to draft a 6 or 7 guard, but you can get a 6 or 7 edge or a 9 or 10 guard, who would you take? Who would be better for the team? And so I'm all with you, man. If that best player at 28 is a guard, take him. Because you know what? You're getting the best player. JDC, Puff. Woo! Coffee and Lions Talk Live. Back at you. Great start to the morning. Robert, Dan, I remember when you only had 1,000 subscribers. It's been a minute, man. I can remember when I only had 1 subscriber. But Mom came through for me, man. Phil, happy St. Pat's Day. I'll go with that. Back at you all with it, by the way. Johnny L, good morning. JDC, 9 drinks. Happy Green Beard Day. Laughing out loud. Yeah, I know a lot of places, a lot of pubs are open. I want to say at 8 o'clock this morning, maybe even already for people getting off third shift, going out, getting some Irish stew and stuff like that. All right, Moonscar, laughing out loud. Talking head, Dan Headroom, 100%. Hey, got to keep the show entertaining. Kurt, Pierce Sargent, he played well when healthy last year, but he is a rotational player at this point in his career. Okay. Phil, where do you get the peptides? I'll have to ask Jen. Maybe she can give me a site, but if you guys get a free moment today, go ahead and check that stuff out. You know, so she's got a machine in our house where you can stand on it, checks like your bone density, you know, just everything about your body. And she's had me on this jazz for about 2 months now. Maybe it's a little bit longer than that. And all I can tell you is I know she's got to always remind me, your weight doesn't mean as much. Like, I've ever since high school, when I graduated high school, she said, always been between 168 and 172 pounds. Well, at least as of this morning, I'm 177 pounds. But my bone mass has gone up. My muscle mass has gone up. My cholesterol's gone down. My blood pressure's gone down. All this other stuff. And I do work out about 15 minutes a day, 10 minutes of cardio, 5 minutes or so of weightlifting, rowboating or whatever, and, push-ups and stuff like that. But other than my weight, and she keeps reminding me, don't pay attention to that, because if you're building muscle, your bones are getting more, are healthier, then your weight's going to go up. But I can tell you, man, the doctor wanted me on some, cholesterol medication, to get my cholesterol down. She was like, we're going to do this stuff instead. And yeah, every time I get it retested, it's gone down and down and down. So, I'll see if she can give me a link or something for those who want the stuff, but I got nothing but good things to say about it. I can definitely tell you, I've noticed it in my upper body and definitely my legs, the muscles going in. And again, I'm not like a workout warrior like she is. JDC, morning to you and back at you. Michelle, can you please share Jen's site? Yeah, I'll get it from her. I should probably know it, man. I'm going to get fried, but I'll ask her for it, and then I'll have it in tomorrow's show. Kind of like with the real estate stuff, I'll throw it in there. You guys can get access to it. Maybe what I can do later on once I'm off the show is go ahead and put a link or something in the comment section or whatever. I'll get it for you guys. Let's see. Kurt Steele, I don't have to wear green today. Watch the Boss Up Ball Out show today. Find out why. All right, we'll be checking in to find out that answer. Phil, Dan is the Dick Clark of YouTube. Ageless. Hey, well, it's the Mountain Dew and maybe it's the peptides. Kurt Steele, Phil, I have long said that Dan is a vampire. Hey, I do enjoy me some drinking some Mountain Dew. So if you drink it enough, maybe I'll come hang out with you. Phil, laughing out loud, Mr. Steele, the Trim Reaper. Once a year, everyone wants to be Irish, like me, 100%. My dad was incredibly Irish. He is. His descendants were Dailies from Ireland and all that kind of stuff. Kurt Steele, Dan, and I are the same age. We are, my friend. Silver Coach, Detroit needs fresh blood on the offense line. Decker and Ragnar are not guarantees. Health-wise, Glasgow could be a backup, giving everything when called. Mahogany, we don't know if injury-prone. Yeah, you probably do want to address the line. Now, with that being said, I know my brother Tim sent it to me yesterday. I want to say a few of you guys sent it to me too yesterday. There was a video either yesterday or the day before of Giovanni Manu going through some stuff. And while I thought it was mostly just a workout video, there's no doubt this dude, he gets enough reps, enough teachable moments from Hank Fraley and stuff. He's going to be an impact player for the Detroit Lions. He's got the right personality traits. He's got, without question, he's got the right physical stuff. So to me, it just comes down to teaching him techniques. And I'll throw this at you. If you watch his scouting videos from when he played into just the preseason games yesterday, last year, look at the techniques. He's learned a lot, and that's at the start of his freshman year or rookie year in the NFL. Where he was at by the end of it or by the next training camp, I think that kid could be really something. Jordan Reaper, hope everyone has a fun and safe St. Patty's Day. Woo! Oh, yeah, I'm back at you. Kurt Steele, Trim Reaper, laughing out loud. Kurt D, all right. Silver, and Manu, we don't know. He just looks powerful. He does look very powerful. Phil, Kurt, I'm your father. All right, there you go. Aaron, yes. Trim Reaper, what up, though? Hitman, Kurt Steele, the Trim Reaper, what up, though? Brent, no on Stewart, 27% missed tackle rate. Yeah, you're going to have to clean that up. But the only thing I could hope, Brent, is if you get them, is that something they feel they can correct through teachable opportunities. Trumps, I would trade up on the draft and walk away with 3 quality players. I'd be all for it. I don't want 29 guys. I want, like you're suggesting, a couple of guys, 2, 3, 4 guys that I can say, hey, these guys can step in and impact the team. You've got enough depth. And the depth, if you are worried about, I think you can fill in through free agency or the 53-man cutdown day. Trump's plus we have a massive amount of undrafted free agents to pick through. We do. Keith, good morning and greetings, salutations, Dan and the Dude Crew. Exclamation point. Go Lions, most talented team in the NFL, Super Bowl bound. Woo! I'll go with that. Rob Rich, any chance of Hendrickson? I think there is a chance. Am I going to say it's like 80 or 90%? I don't think so. But hey, let's also be honest with the Bengals. Bengals are cheap, and they just had to re-sign some guys. There's only so much money in the pot. So are they going to put a big investment in a 30, 31-year-old defensive end? I don't know. I think they're going to let him go. But you're hearing it from all sorts of different reporters. I know we did a video on the channel a couple of days ago, last week, about Trey Hendrickson. Albert Breer, I think it was, said, hey, the Lions are one of the top 2 teams going after him. Could we get him? I hope so, because I think that would really hit our needs. I just don't think there's any way you're giving up a first or second round pick for him. The only way I think you give up a second is, all right, we'll give you the second, we'll take him, we'll give him the salary. You're giving us a 4th or something like that in return. Phil, is it true Brad does his best free agent work during the season? Probably a lot of validity to that, Phil. Silver, I love Levi. He has got a head between those shoulders, and he is a beast. Yeah, I really like the kid. All aspects of him. Thomas, as far as defense fans, I think Brad's done until the draft. Could be true, 100%. One funky. Ron, highly unlucky. Money is the issue. That could be a factor. Keith, no on store. I want green. I think a lot of people do want green, 100%. Derek, good morning, coach and crew. I think the fans will flip out if Brad goes offensive line in the first pick, and I think it's very possible. I think it is possible. But again, keep a unit strong. Could you really go wrong adding a quality player to your team? I don't think so. Thomas, also, let's not go crazy this year on the Lions going to the Super Bowl. Exclamation point. We're going to be solid. We're going to be in the mix, and we're going to have a chance. I think we are going to have a chance. Phil, how long will it take for all our players to be ready to go 100%? I just don't think there's ever a point where they will all be 100%. Just the nature of this type of sport. It's too physical. Thomas, this year Martin and Scoresdale need to show something by the end of training camp before camp or see later. Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. Ezra Gray, hey, haven't seen in a minute, my friend. Good to see you. Good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Let Brad draft to D-back and to back first round and second. All right. Hey, trade back in for round 1 and 2. I'm down with that. Phil, do you own a motorcycle, Dan? I do not. Phil, 5 inches of snow here. It was snowing out yesterday, but it didn't stick around, I don't think. Southwest, we have to address the edge. If you think Hutch will start out like he did last year, that's foolishness coming off that injury. Yeah, I think they're going to add some edge. Now, when they're going to do it, that I don't know. Paul, do you see Tyrion putting in that offseason work? I do. And I did see him putting in it. I think he's going to be pretty dang good. Justin, family comes first and can't be mad at the man. No, you can't be mad at him about that. JDC, Phil, you win. Snow is a 4-letter word to me now. All right. Pierce, Grit Steel, I can't get over averaging 7 to 8 games per year for Davenport. Yeah, if he can give us that, I'd probably actually be happy with it at his price tag. Keith, Kurt Steele, how old are you? I'm 59. I want to say, yeah, Kurt's my age, 53. 9 drinks. Davenport should be in shape of the best shape of his career. Really, last year's injury wasn't concerning. Probably really good for us this year, just hopefully. Yeah, and we can all say, the kind of the judo chop he took repeatedly at that elbow by the Cards offensive lineman caused the injury. It's unfortunate, but again, you got to stay healthy. You got to stay on the field. Southwest, I paid him more family, but we are talking millions, not $100. Yeah, I think he got about $1.5 million more going to Tennessee than what was reported the Lions were offering, at least somewhere in that range. James, what do you got? Love that final score of Washington smoking Detroit in the playoffs. Okay, yeah. I was not happy that Washington won, but is what it is. Dream River Campbell doesn't have to be hammered to know it is time to let senior citizen Zeitler walk. Yeah, could be that. Could be that was a contributing factor. Silver Server, to break the curse, Detroit Lions will have to do something exceptional, difficult. They need to get in the playoffs and maybe even behind Chicago. If they get gently, they will come together and win. Yeah, just win. Get to the playoffs, then all bets are off. Just go out there and win. Silver Server, what do you, coach, and everyone else think about the edge, Donovan Xera, or something up in the company draft? I think there's so many different options we could do at edge. It really just comes down to scheme fit, and if you can acquire said player. One funny, I like Campbell. I'd be cool with him and Barrett Carter in the first of 2 picks. Okay. Phil, when will we see Chinese or Middle Eastern players in the NFL? I'm actually surprised to a certain degree you haven't seen some of them. But I think a lot of it is just a lack of exposure to the NFL game over there. Most of you guys know I do work for the Chinese Basketball Association for scouting, and you just wouldn't believe how many of the players over there are groomed for soccer. You probably know about basketball, definitely, and then some other sports too. Volleyball is big over there too. Southwest, Aaron Glenn stunk most of his time here, underachieved most part, never made adjustments, and what the heck was he doing versus Washington? I'm glad he's gone. We were injured all over, and he still wanted to play man-to-man. I'll go with that. Keith, I would love to have another Campbell. Well, you might be getting one. According to Dave Birkett, you will. Silver Server, Hutch will not have 3 sacks each game. Relax. He will go throughout the season and be decisive. All right. Verbal Kent. Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham led that Wolverines front. I don't think any of those edges are better than them. Go after Grant. Maybe they will. I won't be surprised if we do try to get him. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Dan and Duke Crew, back at you, boo. Dynamite, Fax, Hollera. All right. Thomas, smash the like, y'all. Yes, if you guys can, hit the subscribe, hit the like. Trim Reaper, you look good without a shirt, coach. There you go. Yeah, 100%, man. Derek, if we get another Campbell on the team, and I might confuse the roster with my grocery list. It could happen, man. It could happen. Good sale, Coach Mike. LL and I have something good debating this morning. Hey, we'll all tune in and check it out. Keith, Campbell, question mark. But, exclamation point, I want Mike Green first and foremost. You might get your wish. I hope you do. Phil, Lions can be creative where they find players, any rugby or other sports being looked at. Yeah, I want to say a couple seasons ago, they had some rugby players. I want to say even some lacrosse players that they looked at bringing in. Some of it is certain sports do translate one to the other. I know rugby does big to NFL football. They still got to have the other measurables, and you got to beat out guys who have played football for decades. Trim Reaper, I'll be at the Boss Up Ball Out YouTube channel next. 100%. We'll send you on over. Gun Guy, take your pants off. I'll leave that to you. Trumps, why the heck would you get rid of JMO? He's our one and only deep threat. Yeah, I don't think we're getting rid of him by any stretch of the imagination. Gun Guy, Goff just left the Lions, said same old Lions fans did it. Okay. Phil, did Micro Mike find a home he likes? We've seen some of that they do like, just haven't pulled the trigger yet. The Trim Reaper, Gun Guy, take your pants off, all right? Hardy, Campbell was the player I've wanted all along, but I wish he would have kept or re-signed Zadarius Smith. Maybe we do re-sign him. It just obviously it hasn't happened as of yet. Trim Reaper, I'll show you where the Wild Goose goes. Okay, Phil, congrats to Michigan for winning the Big Ten tournament. 100% with that, 100%. JDC, Dre Force rocks, and he rolls. Trumps, they can showcase Hooker in the preseason and get rid of him by the trade deadline. Maybe they do. Yeah, I knew where you were going with that. Dynamite, we can't afford to give up first 3 picks. We need impact at all 3. I agree with that. If you can just get 3 or 4 impactful players out of this draft, I think you've done your job. Keith, yes, this show is now part of my morning routine. ! Great show, Dan and the crew. Thanks for welcoming me in. Hey, anytime. I hope you and others all have a great time in here. This is part of my fight against my cancer, and we're all supporting you, my friend. Going to radiation doctor today. Have a good time there, man, and hopefully it all goes well. Keep us up to date, Keith. Trumps, I would trade away later picks and move up in the first 3. Yeah, I'm with you there. The Trim Reaper, hopefully we trade up to get a solid defensive edge. Stephanie, I concur. Man Bear, laughing out loud. It's Dan Does Carlson, Lando Calrissian from Star Wars. All right, I'm okay with that. I like Lando. Pastor Ben, CD looks like we're trading up, but the edge will be addressed with free agent. Brad and Dan are going to surprise us all. I'm down with that, my friend. Good to see you, by the way, Ben. No, Smart. I like how you just let Petty roll off your back, Coach. It's Admiral. Yeah, I mean, hey, man, no, there are very few people that come up with something that the world hasn't seen before. I've learned from different people. I've borrowed from different people. I mean, that's how you learn in life. At least that's, I'm assuming, how I've done it. So if people do stuff that, that I borrowed from, or if they borrow from me, then I hope it works out for them. JDC, tick, tick, tick. It's woo time. Yes, it is. Tim Thornton. Hey, my brother Tim. Alex Anzalone's a free agent after this year. Campbell would be big for the D. Hey, I'll take him. I like Alex Anzalone. I hope they keep him around for a while, but we'll see what happens. It is a business. Thomas, we keep talking about drafting a wide receiver in the late rounds. Other than I'm raw, who have we got? I don't know. Who they're going to target in later rounds to go get. There's a few guys out there that I would target. Now, whether or not you're going to be able to get them, that's probably the bigger question. Diamond, we need to draft Iowa St. DB Darian Porter. He and their receiver Higgins. All right, we'll take a peek at him. Miles Martin, Torrey Apple, and I like that you've got coaches back. Yeah, 100%, man. I got your guys' back. Hopefully you guys have got my back. Phil, do teams pick blocking wide receivers? Some tight ends are catchers and some are blockers. Yeah, you're not wrong. There are some tight ends in the league now that more or less are just wide receivers who don't block. They're just bigger bodies. Silver Server, A.T. Perry ran a 4.49, but very easy. Effortless, long strides. I liked him a lot, and a great radius. Yeah, I really liked him. I thought what he was missing was just some coachable things. Oh, man. I was really hoping that year that we'd get him. It just didn't happen. Amy, Spryan, what do you got? Hello, Dan and crew. Back at you, Amy. Always good to have you back in the show. Malzbar, good morning, Amy. Thomas, Captain Jack Campbell is a stud. I don't understand people whatsoever who can't understand that. Yeah, I really like him, and I think he's going to keep evolving and getting better. I don't know if he's ever going to be a pro bowler, but I think he's going to be just a notch beneath that, and that's a pretty good player. Silver Sir, I agree. Start Rodriguez. 9 drinks. April 24th to the 26th is the draft. Thank you for that. 9 drinks. Thank you very much. Ryan Coco, hello, Duke crew, and Monday morning, back at you. Amy Spry, good morning, Miles Marker. Pastor Ben, Coach Dan. Oh, when you're the best, expect people to take your lead. Really enjoy your show. How do you feel about Campbell versus Von Miller for a possible addition? I'd rather, if it was me at this point in his career, I'd rather go with Campbell. If you're talking about John Campbell, just because I think he's got fresher legs, cheaper contract. It's nothing against Von Miller. It's just Father Time beats all of us, man, and maybe he needs some peptides. I don't know. If you could sign him and it wasn't going to break the bank, I wouldn't mind Von Miller for a rotational piece, but that's probably about the extent of it, at least to me. Phil, any chance you head up to Green Bay for the draft? You could be some real estate deals up in the UP. I'll actually be in the UP this upcoming weekend for a friend of mine's 50th birthday, but probably not going to Green Bay for the draft. Kurt Steele, Miles Margaret, Kurt Steele, Max Headroom. There you go. Kurt Steele, Max Headroom, laughing out loud. Miles Margaret, good morning. Ryan Coco Grit, there you go. Trumps and your daddy. All right. Jackie was a big fan of Za'Darius, but him and Hutch together would be a good team. Can't wait to see Hutch back to work. Happy St. Patty's Day. Happy St. Patty's Day to you as well. Keith, your wife is correct. She usually is, and she'll tell me about it. 9 drinks, hot dogs in the morning. Pray don't help your cholesterol. Laugh out loud. Yes, they probably don't. But you know what? Hey, sometimes you got to live life a little bit. Phil, Jen and Dan's dietary supplements, a new business spawning. I don't know about that. I don't enjoy. I mean, here's what I'll say. I don't enjoy being a salesperson. I look at real estate like this. You know, just because I've flipped houses, I've been a landlord, land developer, what do you want to say, in the business for so long. When I walk people through houses, I feel like it's my job to be basically like an investigator. I want to look for the issues with the house and make sure people know, because all the decades I've done real estate, I came to realize 99% of people don't know jack about construction or how houses work. So I want to walk through and point out the issues so they feel a little bit more calm, a little bit more relaxed, and their eyes start seeing what I see. Keith, yes, bring back Z. I'd be okay with that. 9 drinks, judge yourself. Some special K with strawberries. There you go. Duncan, Brad is the best GM ever. I'll go with that. Phil, gummies coming. That I don't know. 9 drinks, I'll go with that. Keith, I'm a MCD, but I am Scottish. Hey, go with that. Phil, I just remembered Jen is not a doctor. Talk to your doctor before taking over the counter supplements. Yes, always agreed. And these are, I think, naturally based. They're not like manufactured things. She'd have to tell you guys all about it. But from my understanding, which is, probably just kind of listening to her when she talks, these are things you find in nature. So whatever you want to call that. Larry, what I got? Advantage is now we are a different defense. Our look is less predictable, and our former coaches will be less prepared for us. Yeah, I go with that. Don Kong, trust in Brad, exclamation point. Just sit back, chillax, and trust in Brad. I'll go with that. Miles Mark, good point, Larry. Tim Thornton, Malcolm Rodriguez will also be a free agent after this year. Yeah, his rookie deal will expire. Phil, magnesium is very important. Yes, she makes me take that too. Courtney, DNA says 1% Irish, 1% African, 50% Finnish, but 100% Lions fan. Woo! I'll go with that. Well said. Here's Johnny, go blue. Kurt Steele, the Bengals paid big money for those wide receivers, 40% of their roster in 3 players. And that's why I do think more and more there might be an opportunity for Trey Hendrickson. Could it be the Lions? Man, who knows, man. Trumps, we made a trade with the Bengals last year. Holmes must have some kind of rapport with them. I'll go with that. Mr. Ed, good morning. Dan, the Duke Crew. I like your show, Dan. Best way for Lions fans to start the day. Hey, I enjoy starting my day with you guys. Hopefully you guys feel the same. All right, Don Kong, Bengals not smart at all. I'll concur. If John Campbell is there in the 20s, he could be a similar size to the best defensive ends left on the board. That will be very interesting. I'll go with that. Keith, and exclamation point, please, Brad, get Trey Hendrickson. All right, if we get him, I think the fan base will rump. Derek, quarterbacks in the draft, Brad, maybe. Courtney, let's see, Lopez and Reeder will tear up the middle, and Hutch will clean up the left end. I'll take that. Lions fan, Super Bowl, go Lions. I hope so. Southwest, Terran needs to do drills with his hands tied behind his back. That's the problem. He'll keep involving on it for sure. Gary, I don't care who we get in the first pick as long as they get a defensive tackle, edge, linebacker, safety, and make sure they resign Z. Okay. Sarge, top of the morning, ladies. On a map of 16th century Ireland, there is a town. All right, there is a town, 100%. Don Kong, Zeitler said immediately they left for family. Yeah, I'll go with that. Miles Marker, Phil, 10-plus inches of snow here. Nasty, heavy heart attack. Show and 14 degrees this morning. Ugh. All right, well, stay warm, my friend. Bo, happy trails, Dude Crew. All done and dusted for another day. See you later. We'll see you then. Gary, they also should get a center for future development. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea at all. Phil, 12 degrees here in the moment in Traverse City. We'll be driving through Traverse City on our way up north. Phil, greetings to Bobby. I'll tell her you said hi. Don Kong, Brad is going best player available. Yeah, that would be his thing. Don Kong, is there anyone that does not think Brad is going best player available? No, I think he would. All right, jump. All right. Let's see. Brent, Jack Campbell would say Sam here. We would resign Barnes. Jalen Walker could and will. Then Anzalone leaves. James Pierce is not in the Lions draft board at all due to his horrible character. All right, Southwest. It's all men in this chat. Y'all need to chill. Taking another man talking about your pants off. All right. Sarge called McCartney, Corton County, and that is a brewery. McCarl Brewery. They made Metacar beer. All right. JDC, happy trails. Go Lions victory. We'll see you then. Here's Johnny. Lions are fighting the fighting Dan Campbell's indeed. Brent, I like Mike Green, but he has 2 sexual assault allegations and have to check out to become complied lies for the Lions draft him. Yeah, complete lies from the draft him. The only thing I would say is, just outside of being a sports reporter, I did cover a lot of courtroom stuff for a while. Here's what I'd say. It didn't happen often, but I would say 20% of the time when I would go in and have to cover allegations like that, 20% of the time, they did end up being false, that somebody made up stuff. So I don't know the situations with Mike Green, but I would just say don't throw stones until we know the whole story. If he is exonerated and it just turns out people trying to, make false allegations or, maybe trying to get a paycheck out of it, you do have to be careful with things. All right, Motown Mitch, Lions rule, Bears rule. I think the Lions need to trade back and grab a couple of solid second-round players like Branch and Laporta, then trade up with later picks to get 3rd and 4th solid players. Yeah, I'm down with that. Jim Reaper, Circle of Life, always my friend. Dog, you call Motown Mitch. That sounds like a plan. Brad might execute that plan this draft. Might be. Don Kong JMO is not getting re-signed here. All right, we'll find out. Brent, Dan Campbell, and Brad love JMO. I think that's true. Trim Reaper, have a great day, Coach, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Be safe, y'all, and back at you. Trim Reaper, Coach is too funny. If you love her, she's always right, and when she's wrong, yes, you are right with that, my friend. Benjamin, all the speculation is nuts. They draft 28th. How can anyone possibly figure out who they're going to pick? Yikes. Yeah, 100%, Ben. It's all speculation. I know we talked about that early in the show. What everybody else does early in the draft is going to affect the Lions. Brian, happy St. Patty's Day, everyone. Let's go. Lions draft till over a month away. Yes, it is about a month away. Brent, can't see Stink, Silver Server. He's never going to be able to stop the run in the NFL. All right. Happy trails, Duke Crew. Back at you, Hookadoo. Pastor Ben, Super Bowl bound. I like the way you're thinking. Brian, Super Bowl bound. Let's go. Woo! Egon, there needs to be equal sentences for false allegations. Yeah, 100%. You can't just ruin somebody's life like that. I do remember, oh gosh, you guys are going to push me back in the 90s here. There was a football player. Gosh, I'm trying to remember. It was one of the area colleges. He got sentenced to I think it was something like 15 years in prison for sexual assault or something like that. I don't remember the full details. And then about 3 or 4 years into his sentence, so he's already lost his college career and everything. The lady that, made the accusations that sent him to prison came out and said, you know what, I lied about it all. I wanted, whatever she wanted. I don't remember the full details, but that dude never got his life back. So the only thing I say is people can make accusations. It doesn't mean they're always telling the truth. Wait and, try to find out the details before you throw a stone. All right, Ed, happy trails, Duke Crew, back at you. Miles Margot, One Pride, 100%. All right, guys, if there is breaking news today and I can get my shirt to change so you guys can see me, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. Before you check on out, if you do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Be kind to people you don't know. Be a good human being. And we'll see you guys on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Happy trails.